most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1, most of the work we'll do to be ready for that are also the things we need to do to minimize the threat of bioterrorism. To be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1.
We'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time. We'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
Expliciet werk je al om ons in ieder geval op weg te helpen mocht er een tweede pandemie komen. Maar eigenlijk als ik goed volg wat je al jaren zegt, dan is de kans dat een tweede pandemie komt heel erg groot.
Ja, daar is wel consensus over. Dat is ook, het staat ook al een tijd lang in het 10-jarenplan van de Wereldgezondheidsorganisatie. 10-jarenplan van de Wereldgezondheidsorganisatie. Dus daar stond, bereid je voor de komende 10 jaar, er gaat een grote infectieziektecrisis komen. Nou, dit was jaar 1.
Unless we take the action necessary and we build again in a greener, more sustainable and more inclusive way, then we will end up having more and more pandemics and more disasters from ever accelerating global warming and climate change. So then we will end up having more and more pandemics and more disasters.
There's one message that I want to leave with you today based on my experience, and you'll see that in a moment, is that there is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that, but also there will be a surprise outbreak. But also there will be a surprise outbreak. But also there will be a surprise outbreak.
of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic, of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic, of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic. And there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together.
Why don't we blow the system up? I mean, obviously we can't just turn off the spigot on the system we have and then say, hey, everyone in the world should get this new vaccine we haven't given to anyone yet. But there must be some way.
There might be a need or even an urgent call for an entity of excitement out there that's completely disruptive, an entity of excitement out there that's completely disruptive, that's not beholden to bureaucratic strings and processes. But it is not too crazy to think that an outbreak of a novel avian virus could occur in China somewhere. We could get the RNA sequence from that an outbreak of a novel avian virus could occur in China somewhere.
And then you have one opportunity to do it right. I mean, day one is so important. In day one, you start your communication with the press, with the people, and you have to do it right. I mean, you have to go for one voice, one message. You have to be omnipresent that first day or the first days, so that you attract the media attention. You make an agreement with them that you will tell them all, and if they call, you will pick up the phone. When you do that, then you can profit from these early days to get complete carpet coverage of the field, and they're not going to search for alternative voices. voices there, and they're not going to search for alternative voices there. I used there Sir Donaldson's quote, where he said that in the UK, by the peak of the epidemic, 40 people would die per day at the end of the summer. So 62 at that time million people in UK, 40 deaths a day. I worked it out for Belgium. That would be 7 deaths a day at the peak of the epidemic. I used that in the media. 7 Belgian flu deaths per day at the peak of the epidemic would be realistic. That is true in every year, even interpandemically. That is very, very conservative. However, talking about fatalities is important, because when you say that, people say, wow, what do you mean? People die because of influenza? And that was a necessary step to take. And then, of course, a couple of days later, you had the first H1N1 death in the country, and the scene was set and it was already talked about. And the scene was set and it was already talked about. And then you had to pick who is going to be vaccinated first. And then, well, women and children first, whatever. I mean, risk groups, they were important. And then I misused the fact. And then I misused the fact that the top football soccer clubs in Belgium inappropriately and against all agreements vaccinated they made their soccer players priority people. So I said I can use that. Because if the population really believes that this vaccine is so desirable that even the soccer players would be dishonest to get their vaccine, I said, okay, I can play with that. So I made a big fuss about this. I can play with that. So I made a big fuss about this. This is Van Ranst is raving mad. But it worked. But it worked.
What's going on? Just let me think about where to start.
Well, he saw something. What is it?
I saw a virus. I think some kind of disease.
A virus? Like what? Like SARS?
I don't know. All I know is that it's highly infectious. It may be fatal. Right now, we could all be infected.
We need to make sure that everybody that's inside stays inside. I'm gonna get a few deputies on it. We'll call it a lockdown.
Lockdown?
No, you cannot lock the school doors with...
This is for your family's safety.
Maybe we should wear masks.
I'm gonna swab the inside of your mouth with this little Q-tip. Damn efficient airborne transmission. It causes high fever and respiratory distress. Whatever it is, it originated in China.
I'm authorizing a quarantine on everyone who's come in contact with a symptomatic person.
This is your virus.
I'm sorry, but there's no cure for that.
Chloroquine, that's an anti-malarial drug.
No. Listen, it suppresses the enzymes.
Welcome back, you damn fool.
What happened?
We started everyone on chloroquine, stopped the thing dead in its tracks. Now,
I wish I wasn't afraid all the time, but I am.
we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
If you look behind the curtains, you see, okay, this medical story with COVID-19, we have the medical facts, it's scam, it's fake. So we need to ask who gets the benefit out of this and who has got the power to create this fake. Well, and the target, these are you, the citizens, you and the economy. It's about the economy. So COVID-19 seems to be just the cover story.
We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the New World Order. Yes, it will be pubs and clubs and other things if we have a positive case there.
Today is the first full day of the New World Order. Outdoor gatherings are limited to 2 people. Exercise is allowed, but no further than a 10-kilometre radius from your home. Browsing in shops is not permitted. Only one person per household may leave to do essential shopping. And from tomorrow, funerals are limited to 10 people.
So you can expect that we will have transmission from time to time, and that's just the way it is. We've got to accept that this is the new world order. We've got to accept that this is the new world order.
The new world order, our army comes marching in, partnering with police to help enforce the country's tough new quarantine laws.
And also the new world order that will come into force at 12 p.m, that's midnight tonight. New restrictions on various businesses. Stay with us.
We need to get used to being vaccinated with COVID vaccines for the future.
I want to be straight with you. There will be no return to the old normal for the foreseeable future. I repeat, there will be no return to the old normal for the foreseeable future.
So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again in how we are used to normal, in the old fashion. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
A vaccine on its own will not end the pandemic. Surveillance will need to continue. People will still need to be tested, isolated, and cared for. Contacts will still need to be traced and quarantined.
And that's just the way it is. We've got to accept that this is the new world order.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Simone Gold. I'm a board-certified emergency physician and the founder of America's Frontline Doctors. I'm also a Stanford University educated attorney, and we've come back with some of my group for the second White Coat Summit. We're here to speak to America just like we did on July 27th. At that time, we brought the American people truth and hope and optimism, and we're here to give you more truth and more reasons to be optimistic and to not live in fear. There continues to be a great deal of disinformation and outright censorship. Since our summit, the censorship unfortunately has gotten worse. Because of that, we've established a website, America's Frontline Doctors, where you can find the truth, where the truth is not censored.
We have contact with 87,000 nurses that do not want the vaccine. There's no reason for panic. Also in the medical practice, there's no reason for panic. The panic is created by these false positive PCR tests. 89% until 94% of those PCR tests are false positive. They don't test for the COVID-19, and also the rest is false negative. So we have to look at clinics. We have to start looking at clinic. Medical doctors have to stop looking at those tests. That's very important. Let's go back to the clinics and to the facts.
Welcome everyone. My name is Professor Dolores Cahill, and it is my great honour to inform you that we have founded the World Freedom Alliance. And this aims and will be a worldwide organization linking groups in all continents of the world and in individual countries.
We have a group in 20 countries. It's called comusaf.com. So it is, there are more than 4,000 doctors using it in more than 22 countries, I have to say, exactly now. The lawyer group is getting very big. We have even a commissioner of the human rights, doctors inside that are from the Human Rights Commission, and professors from universities of international law. So there are very high class ones, and it would be great to have more lawyers in there as well as doctors. So any doctor and any lawyer is welcome.